And welcome back to the Buckle Up Podcast universe with Brandon Rush and Mama Rush for our 132nd episode today. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Brandon Rush and I'm an actor, and my mom, Mama Rush, is a retired medical professional. So we are having guests from all around the world. We've done 132 episodes as of today. We are in 76 countries and we are in 863 cities around the world. I have one of my friends that I met during Showcase in London, England, coming on today, Stephanie. Stephanie is beyond talented. In fact, she was so good when she was doing her scene. Not only did I think I was watching a movie, but she did an American accent. So I'm like, oh man, I thought I was the only American here. And then afterwards, I'm like, hey, let me meet this actress. And I spoke to her and I'm like, I have to ask you, you American or are you British? And she's like, oh, I'm actually British. So it just threw me completely off. But that's how talented she was. So I'm about to let Stephanie on here so she can talk about her journey. If this is also your first time tuning in, we have people from all around the world on here. We have CEOs, we have military, we have veterans, we have first responders, doctors, nurses, teachers, everyday people, brands that are coming on here to speak about their brands and what they want to offer to the world out there. And if you would like to be a guest and sit down with us, feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me at Brandon Rush with two H's. So that's BRANDONRUSHH on Instagram. And on our other handle is Buckle Up Podcast. So that's BUCKLE. Buckle up. So sorry about that. BUCKLEUPPODCAST. That's the other handle that we have. You can feel free to DM either of those, and we're get ready to let Stephanie in here. Okay, here she comes. I believe I'm already recording. Yes, I am. Stephanie, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. It's so great to see you again.
Lovely to see you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're more than excited. So my mom's on here too, but she's going to be using her picture.
That's great. Lovely to meet you.
Oh, lovely meeting you as well, Stephanie.
And then, Stephanie, we'd like to do the honor of welcoming you to the Buckle Up Podcast with Brandon Rush and
Mama Rush.
And today we have one. Go ahead and announce yourself, Stephanie. First and last name for us, if you wouldn't mind.
I'm Stephanie Okoye.
Oh,
Lovely to see all of you.
yeah, lovely to see you as well. I didn't know how to pronounce your name, full disclosure, so I was like, hey, I have to see how she pronounces it.
That's fine. To be honest, I get told in Nigeria that I pronounce it wrong. So
Oh, really? So that name's of Nigerian descent, huh?
yeah, it's Nigerian.
Oh, amazing. Oh, wow.
Nigerian.
Are you
Yeah.
Nigerian?
Mm.
Okay. I guess your family's is your family originally from Nigeria, or how does that work with you being in London?
So yeah, my parents were both born in Nigeria, and then they moved over when they were like teenagers, and my
Okay.
brother was born in London.
Oh, wow.
So I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah, well, Stephanie, today is all about you, and we might as well get on into it. So, as you said, yeah, just tell us about life. What was life like growing up in was it London, is it, or just tell us
Yeah,
about we're
London,
American over
London,
here.
England. Well, I mean, it was cold. It's still
Yeah.
currently cold. If anything, I mean, I have been here a very, very long time, and every single year I'm still shocked by how cold it is. Although I can't really complain because you guys are on the East Coast, right? So I feel like it's pretty cold there as well.
It is. It absolutely is cold right now. In fact, we have some snow coming in. So snow's supposed to come in.
We haven't had any snow yet. To be fair, I think actually in England we're quite pathetic. We're always complaining and we don't really get any snow. So actually it can't really be that cold, but it feels cold.
Yeah. Well, I guess you probably have I guess you guys probably have a lot of wind chill, especially the river. Is it the River Thames or Thames? Did I say that correctly?
And
Yeah, the River Thames. I would assume it'd be probably pretty cold coming off of that.
it's cold. And what we get is a lot of rain. It's just always raining. Like it's just
Okay.
constantly wet.
Yeah. You know what, Stephanie? It's funny. I didn't realize that about the rain until I got there. And that whole entire month I was there, I didn't bring an umbrella on me. It would be beautiful outside. And then next thing you know, it's like pouring down rain.
That's the issue. It's like we genuinely have all the seasons in one day, most days. So you
Ew.
go out and you're like, wow, the sun's out. This is amazing. I'm in such a great mood. And then literally within 10 minutes, it's like gray skies everywhere, rain, 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 and everybody's just so miserable.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, I loved it. Like London really grew on me, and England
Yeah.
really grew on me.
Because
I
you
like
were
it a
here
lot.
for a long time, no? A few weeks.
Yeah, I was. And I'll be going back and forth. So I'm just on the East Coast right now.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
trying to work both angles. But Stephanie, I was telling my mom, like whenever I went to the acting showcase, I see you in there. You perform. First off, you had two scenes memorized, which is beyond impressive because they were both hard scenes. I looked at them, but the other part of it was you did it in an American accent, and I'm like, man, I thought I was the only American here. And then I'm like, I have to meet Stephanie. And then when I spoke to you, I'm like, I have to ask you a question. Are you American or are you British? Oh my God, I'm actually British. I'm like, what?
Thank you. Do you know what? It was actually it was that class. I feel like I got the seal of approval because there was you, and then I think there were two other Americans, and one of the
Oh
other
yeah.
was like, "I thought you were American." I was like, "Well, thank you very much. I'm absolutely not, but thanks."
That is crazy. How did you learn? Like, how did
How did you
you?
perfect the skill?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I actually think so. I'm pretty good at languages. I've always been pretty good at languages since I was young, and always quite good at accents. When I was younger, my parents thought that there was something wrong with me because if ever I met somebody, I would just imitate the way they spoke, and they were like, "You can't do that." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like I was like a little parrot. But in terms of the American accent, my mum's sister and my cousin actually live in Maryland.
Oh,
And my
cool.
brother and I spent most summers in Maryland for a few weeks at a time. So I think I probably, got it in there somewhere and then it just kind of stuck with me.
Oh,
Okay. I could not. I mean, that is beyond impressive. I mean, it is uncanny to where. Actually, let me tell you what. I always used to joke before ever coming over there. I'm like, man, these British actors are always playing Americans. It gets on my nerves just because it's like Americans can play Americans. And then I see you do that, and it wasn't. It was a hard scene too. I'm like, shoot. Now I understand. Like, it's the level of competition.
Yeah,
Actually, I
but
put it right
but
up
you know
front.
what? We're lucky because we do so much TV and film that we grew up watching. Obviously, comes from the States, so I think
mhm.
we're far more used to it. And I think when you get sort of American actors doing British accents, it's always there's not as much exposure, I would say, just kind of just
Okay.
like a standard British accent. You get like these period dramas, and it's very much like, "Can I have some more, please, sir?" It's like nobody actually speaks like that. So.
Yeah.
Well, Stephanie, when you all were in class together,
Yeah.
what still makes you smile or taught you something about yourself in those classes?
That's actually a great question. I think, do you know what? I learned so much from you, Brandon, at that class because you were so yourself. As soon as you sat there, like these experiences are pretty nerve-wracking. Obviously, you've been acting quite a long time, so you're used to it. But I think you never get rid of nerves entirely. There's always this
Hmm.
moment where and it's a very unnatural experience when you're in these classes because you're sitting in front of a camera and then you've got everybody watching you and you've never met them before, and then you just have to go with this scene that you've been given 2 days before, and it's all quite strange.
Hmm.
And you just got up there and totally, you ad libbed some bits, you added some personality. And I've always been sort of, not like afraid to do that, but it just never occurred to me that you could make the scene your own in that way. And
Yeah.
after watching that, and then what you said afterwards, when the casting director asked you like what's your usual kind of approach, and you asked her what her approach was, and you were like, I often will try to show my personality first because it's obviously, that's how they're going to remember me because I'm a unique individual. And that really resonated with me a lot because I
Uh-huh.
quite value my personality as a person.
Absolutely.
You never
Yeah.
know how that can come through when you're obviously
Uh-huh.
playing a character that you've curated in a certain type of way, and you're like, how much of me should I actually show? So that was really cool to see that you're showing you because that's the whole point.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate that.
Yes, so
It
nice
makes me
to
feel
hear.
good.
Yeah, I love hearing that.
Absolutely. Stephanie, you honestly, I think the sky is the limit for you when it comes to being an actress because you are that talented. And then I think I don't know if you said you had been doing it for a long time, or it seemed like you said you hadn't been doing it that long, or you had finally,
Oh,
and for
when
you to
we
be
met,
that level to start,
thank you. We met, I think it was in the summer. No, it was maybe like
it's September. Yeah.
September. So I started really in about January, February of last year. So it'd only been a few months when we met.
You're natural. In
Thank
fact,
you.
you're beyond a natural.
Thank you. That's
And,
really kind.
and then
That's
I'm glad you decided to pursue that too.
100%. I mean, it's been such an experience. Wait, Mama Rush, what's your name? How do I address you?
Yeah, I
Sorry.
guess Mama Rush is fine. That's what they
Mama
know
Rush.
me at on the show. They call me Mama Rush because Brandon's stage name is Brandon Rush, and I gave him that last name Rush because he's with SAG and he couldn't have the same last name
Yes,
as
of course.
Smith, and so he had to change it. And I saw this movie. We both watched it, and I said, "Well, why don't you change your last name to Rush, Brandon, for your stage name?"
I love
So
that.
over the years he started when I call or say something to him, he would say Mama Rush. So he started referring to me as Mama Rush on the
Mm.
shows. And when he would write something on Facebook, he said, "Oh, Mama Rush just made a comment." So I took that name on, but I'm Carolyn. But I took that name on, and so everybody who comes on the show, they just says, "Hey, Mama Rush, how you doing?" So that's how
I
that
love
came
it.
about.
Okay, Mama Rush,
Yeah,
great.
okay.
Well,
But
I don't know whether Brandon's mentioned that I was in law before I decided to turn my hand to acting.
uh-huh,
Um, but it was essentially, it's all been sort of like a whirlwind adventure, and it wasn't even something that I was sure. You know, when you kind of get on a ride and you're like,
uh-huh.
are we going yet? I'm not sure if I actually want to be on this yet. What's going on? And then suddenly you're off and you're like, oh, well, I guess we're going.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, tell us about that path that you took with law, and because I want to really know about your educational path and what did you study and getting into law, how difficult it was. Go ahead and share that with the audience.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually for my undergraduate degree at university, I studied French and Spanish, which
Excellent.
is, you know, very far removed from what I then ended up doing. At that point, I had considered studying law, but I wasn't really that keen on studying something that vocational. I always loved languages.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the course. It was very much like a literature, politics, philosophy course. It was the only course I could find that was very all-encompassing of a lot of subjects that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I obviously wanted to be able to speak other languages, which thanks to that, I am now also fluent in French and Spanish, which is fun.
Yeah.
So after I studied French and Spanish, I had intended to kind of take some time off. I was 20, 21. I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I want to travel the world. I don't want to
Yeah.
work. I just want to have fun. But the world had other plans for me. I sort of fell into a bit of a mental health crisis at that time. And I thought, well, I need to pull back from everything and just kind of figure out what I want to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I rebelled. I went through this rebellion where I was like, everyone, like I said, Nigerian background. You're a lawyer, you're a doctor. There's not really
Mm-hmm.
like my every family member would be like, so when will you become a lawyer? I was like, neither of them, and they're like, what did you? I don't understand. So I was like, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
as happens after sort of a year and a bit of going through this internal kind of turmoil and kind of regressing to almost a child and having to refine myself and my strength of character, I decided to do a law conversion. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which is essentially how you can kind of convert, as it were, your undergraduate degree into a law degree if you study for 2 years
Mm-hmm.
in the UK. So you don't have to, it's like law school. I know it's a different system in the States. You don't really have to go to law school. It is law school, but it's not the
Mm-hmm.
same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Study for 2 years and then you work for 2 years, and that's how you are officially a lawyer.
All
What?
right. You don't have to take the bar.
You do. So you
Oh.
have to take exams in those 2 years that you're studying,
Mm-hmm.
which is called it's called the LPC if you want to be a solicitor,
Mm-hmm.
or there's another bar exam if you want to be a barrister, which I've now totally forgotten. Because in the UK we separate the two. You're not just
Oh,
an attorney. You're either going to court or you're doing sort of the paperwork side of things.
okay.
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 So I was a solicitor, so that was on the paperwork side of things.
Gotcha.
Ironically, I
Mm-hmm.
probably should have followed the bar route because then maybe I could have been acting in court, but no, that's not.
Do they still wear those wigs?
Yes, they
And
do.
what
Really?
they
Yes,
too?
they do. They do. They wear their wig and gown to go to court. Every barrister does. Yeah.
Yes. So
Um,
Oh wow! Honestly, Stephanie, the barrister is the first time I heard it. There's two terms you've used. Well, solicitor I've heard, but
yeah.
barrister. When you say barrister, I almost think barista, which is
Yeah.
coffee.
People do think that, but no, the barrister is so it's a whole different system. I mean, not to bore you or anything, but if
You're
you're
not boring. Yo, go ahead.
if you're
Well,
a
our audience is learning because we don't know that in the most. I want to say most people in the States don't know that, but I could be wrong.
That's right.
Oh, well, great. Yeah. So if you're an attorney in the States, generally, I think you kind of do everything. You go to court, you advocate, and you also do the paperwork. Whereas in the UK, as a solicitor, you can, for example, get higher rights and become a solicitor advocate. So you are then able to go to court, but it's not necessarily the most common route.
Okay.
So a barrister, they are generally self-employed. They all work together in what's called a chambers, but generally they are their own boss essentially,
Okay.
and they find their own work. Whereas solicitors, we work more stereotypically the way that you would imagine in the States. You're part of a law firm. I was working for a US law firm, so
Really?
I had a lot of there was a lot of US influence in the work that I was doing. But yeah, so I did my law conversion, and to be honest, it all kind of, like I was saying before, like the roller coaster, it kind of happened where I don't think at any point, I remember going onto this journey and thinking, well, I'm not sure yet if I want to be a lawyer. And everyone had said to me, it's really difficult. It's really hard. It's not just something you rock up one day and you're like, I'm going to be a lawyer, like
Yeah.
it's competitive to get in the UK, we call it a training contract is what you're trying to get.
Okay.
It's like almost, if you got like a summer internship and off the back of that, they give you a job.
Yeah.
But in order to get into a law firm, you have to get one of those.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So to get one of those, you have to apply first for something that's called a vacation scheme, which is sort of like a week-long internship,
Okay.
which is how they pick the people for the training contract. But sorry, go ahead.
No,
No,
you're
I
good.
said,
No, we're
oh,
listening.
we're
We're like we're
We're
learning.
listening. We're listening.
Yeah.
But in order to get that, you have to do a series of applications. You have to do written applications. Then you have to do interviews and assessments. It's really long and it's very competitive. So I arrived. I remember starting my course, and there were obviously other people who'd known they wanted to do this for so long, and they had been through cycle after cycle after cycle of applications. And I remember going to this dinner. And it was a Black women in law dinner. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to this. It's gonna be really useful. And I was scared out of my mind.
Oh, wow.
I hadn't done a single application. And this girl came up to me and she goes, how many applications have you done? And I was like, well, I haven't done any yet. She was like, what do you mean you've not done any applications? Seriously at all? How do you think you're going to get a job? Honestly, I was terrified. She was like, you need to be doing at least 20, then you don't stand a chance, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
What on earth have I got myself into? I've just come off the hardest 2 years of my life, sort of refinding myself. And now apparently I've thrown myself into the lion's den.
Yeah.
So do you think at that moment is when you realized you wanted to pivot and I think maybe did that help you recognize this wasn't going to be long term or whatever when she came up and approached you that way?
I think it almost sort of spurred me into action, whether it was an ego-driven thing or whether I didn't really put much thought into whether this was going to be my path. I thought, well, I've got to get this now, So I worked really hard for about a year. I didn't really have a social life, and I just did applications and applications. And then fortunately, I then did get interviews and some training contracts offers. So it was like it's the sort of thing where, when you have this thing that everybody wants, you don't even know if you want it, but there's no way in hell you're going to turn it down.
Yeah.
And everyone was so happy for me. And I was so happy and so excited because I was like, wow, I've achieved this thing. And now I have to take it. And so the ship just, the train left the station and I was sort of, okay, let's sure.
Yeah.
For the ride. And so I did, and I worked for 2 years. I did my training contract at this US firm, and it was difficult. It was a difficult experience. I think it's hard to say now whether it was the wrong firm for me, whether it was a time that I was going through my life. I was in a bit of a complicated relationship at the time. There was a lot of other extenuating and aggravating circumstances. So it's sometimes hard for me to distinguish whether law just wasn't for me or whether it just wasn't the right environment for me at the time. But all that being said, I finished my training contract and I didn't get retained. So to be retained to go to become essentially the next stage up. So there was a whole thing, and it was really like, well, it was quite earth shattering because we'd gone on this process, and the whole point was that, you would get retained. It was a very small intake. There were only 4 of us at the firm.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
they only took 2 of us on, and we found out very, very last minute. So there wasn't really that much time to
right.
move to another place.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Mhm.
And I look at that's definitely the turning point, because
Okay.
it's in that moment where I thought, okay, I can get another job as a lawyer. It's
Mhm.
not the worst thing. If anything, I had probably wanted to leave that firm anyway, because I knew that it wasn't necessarily where my future lay, whether or not I wanted to stay in law.
Yes.
But I just didn't really know. It was such a shock that I was like, this isn't the way it was supposed to happen. I had a plan.
Yeah.
I was supposed to stay on, and then I was supposed to do this, this, and this, and everything was going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what life looks like,
No, it's not.
Well, you're still young enough, and that you both, and I always tell Brandon, you're such young people, and you can do so many different things, and you're not just stuck in a certain lane and have to follow that lane forever, or you're not on a certain highway and you have to follow that highway forever. And when you realize that when you're young enough, as you two are, I always tell Brandon this, you can make that decision and keep on moving forward. Life is ahead of you, not what happened behind you. So you keep moving forward, and then all of a sudden you start feeling the speed. I'm speeding. I'm speeding.
Mhm.
This is right answer for you. And that's God. He walks in and he tells you when it's time. Even if you can't see your way, he'll make you so uncomfortable that all of a sudden you will see your way out of that. So that's
Yeah.
a good thing. With that, I wanted to ask a couple of questions here. Life can bring unexpected seasons, as
Yeah.
you've experienced. Have you ever had a chapter that changed you, one that made you slow down and rebuild?
100%. Um, just before I got into the law stuff,
Mm-hmm.
after I graduated from uni, I had, like I briefly touched on, I had a really big mental health situation where I
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, I'd always been a fairly anxious child, I suppose, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, it didn't overwhelm my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I suddenly had what I can only really describe as a real meltdown.
Okay.
And I lost all sense of being able to function really as an adult. I spent a lot of time with my mum. I was having, panic attacks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
My diet changed entirely because I was terrified of eating anything because I had lots of gastric issues. There was
Mm-hmm.
so much going on. And I had been this really full of life, kind of just like all over the place person. Maybe a bit of a party girl. I liked to have fun. And then suddenly it was like I was a 5-year-old child, sort of clutching at my mum's arm, and I was about 24 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was scary because I didn't know what was happening to me, and I didn't know what to do about it. And I had to, because I was unable to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
I had to just totally stop it all. And
Mm-hmm.
that, I think now when I look back on it, I'm so grateful, not for the pain and the discomfort and the anxiety that I experienced then, but
Mm-hmm.
for the fact that it made me look at my life and what I want in a totally different way. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that it gave me the tools that I have now, and I had at the moment, for example, where I didn't get retained after my training contract, to be
Mm-hmm.
able to recognize that when you're pushed in a different direction, it's not the end of the world. Rejection is redirection. Any kind of sort of what feels ostensibly or initially like failure is actually just showing you that there's something much better waiting for you on the other side. And you need to heed that call when it comes and don't ignore it, because it will only get worse.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that,
Stephanie, come on.
Yeah.
Preach. You're doing a good job. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But that was a really pivotal time for me. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
so how the acting came about was after I had left this firm, I did continue to look for other jobs. And, I'd spent 4 years training to be a lawyer. I wasn't going to just give it up just like that. It was all I knew to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like to be idle, and I had always been interested in acting. It wasn't something that I imagined I could ever pursue as a career. It was, you're a child and you're playing, make believe and fantasy games, and you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking, I said, all the time, I want to be a lawyer. From a young age, I didn't know what it meant. I wanted
Yeah.
to be a spy or an assassin. Again, and I also wanted to be an actor because
Uh-huh.
I figured life is acting, isn't it?
Mhm.
We're all
It
actors.
really is.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I thought, well, this would be really fun. And people said, Steph would be such a good actor, blah, blah, blah. But there was never anything in I went to a very academic secondary school, very academic primary school, very academic university. There was never, and all of my friends were quite corporate minded and academic. So I didn't have that sort of creative person to sort of say, acting is a job that you could have,
Mhm.
you could
Mhm.
pursue this. So I started taking some classes, and I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't tell my mom about it. I didn't tell my brother about it. I just started going,
Mhm.
just to see what it was like.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was scary at first,
Mhm.
because it was so. There's such a difference. For example, I don't mind standing up in front of a room of people and making a speech or something like that, but there's something very vulnerable about going into a space that is an acting class when you're not aware of what it's going to be like. You see
Uh-huh.
people, everybody was so free to be themselves. They were
Mhm.
so connected to their own bodies and they were so unself-conscious in a
Mhm.
way that I'd never seen before. I remember my first acting class, I walk in, everyone's lying on the floor doing heavy breathing. So I just peep through the door because I don't want to go in. I'm like, am I in the right place? And then they all start running around doing sort of animal noises and all these things. And I was like, what's going on?
In the world is happening. Yeah.
Am I in the right place? What's
Mhm.
going? And then honestly, I was about to leave, and the acting coach, he goes, Stephanie, and I was like, hi, and he was like,
Yeah.
come on in, get on the floor, and I was like,
Oh.
mm. But I just went with it. And it was
Uh-huh.
one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And
Wow.
everybody I met was so supportive and so
Mhm.
kind and so genuine. There were no, big egos, elbows, none of that. And that's actually been
Mhm.
very indicative of everyone that I've met, representative
Mhm.
of everybody that I've met since I've got into acting. And I was, apprehensive as sort of an ego-driven industry that people would
Mhm.
be unkind. But I
Yeah.
met a lot more unkind people working as a lawyer than I have done since I've been
Oh.
acting.
Oh.
Everybody's been so helpful. Like, Brandon, even when we met, you gave me so much information. You jumped on a call with me. We chatted for an hour and you didn't have to do that, you know.
Oh.
And
That helped.
it's just, I think when you're doing something that you feel authentically connected to and passionate about, and you see
Mhm.
somebody who feels the same, all you want to do is share your passion. And you're like, we're both in this together. And I think it's such an amazing thing for human beings, especially in the world that we live in, to stand up and say, but this is what I enjoy and this is what makes me feel good. To hell with what anybody else thinks. I'm
Mhm.
going to do it. And that's why I think they're such wonderful people, because they're genuinely actually connected with who they are and what they want. I can't tell you very many people working in the corporate world who wake up every day and think, God, I can't wait to draft that document. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. What a day we're going to have doing this shit.
You have to love what you do in this life,
Yeah.
and you have to wake up with a passion. And I know when I sold medicines, I loved seeing my doctors, and I loved making a difference with their medical knowledge as far as what they could do great for their patients. And I knew at the end of the day, if we shared, the doctor shared with me and I shared with the doctor some powerful information,
Yeah.
it would help a patient that he may treat that day or in the future, and why this particular medicine might be the right one or it might not be the right one, but the class of drugs might be the right class to put that
Yeah.
patient in. So when you love what you do, when you're passionate, you don't mind going. But when someone makes it uncomfortable or make you not feel like you're doing all of this, or hey, they have a number game they're playing, they don't understand the impact that does on one in a career or a profession.
100%.
Yeah. And so to
Yeah.
know that you're now in acting and that you love that area. Now, have you been in the movies yet or on stage yet?
Yeah, so I've done one stage production. So actually, the reason that I then was like, okay, we're going to go into this, after I did a few acting classes,
Mm-hmm.
I met in one of my acting classes a man who had actually in his previous life been a psychiatrist for about
Mm.
60 years.
What?
And we got put up randomly to do a scene together, and
Mhm.
it really, really connected. It was a really deep, very emotionally driven scene.
Mhm.
And after we did the scene, he came to me and he said, "Hey, look, I've written this play, and it's a two-man play, and I really want you to be in it."
Mhm.
And it was amazing, but I said, "Well, I've got no experience. I can't. This is, and it's about his life. It was based
Mhm.
on his life." And I said, "This is so important, and I want you to be able to do justice to it, but I don't know if I'm the right person. This is all new
Mhm.
to me."
Mhm. Mhm.
And he said, "You absolutely are." And he took a risk on me, 100%. And, we made something really, really wonderful. It was such an incredible opportunity. I got to
Mhm.
play two totally different characters in the play, which was amazing. Um,
Mhm.
and a huge learning experience, because it was the first time I was on stage. It was the first time I had to learn a play, even something
Yeah.
as simple as learning a whole play. I remember looking at it when I first got it, and I thought, how on earth does anybody learn a whole play? What do you mean? You want me to just memorize a book?
Yeah.
How? But it happens, and you can do it. And so when I finally did this, I remember having a conversation with my mum, and there was something when you were saying earlier about essentially knowing that there is a path for you that's charted and you shouldn't worry too much about it. You reminded me so much of my mum, because she speaks like that all the time, and she says it to
Mhm.
me, you must stop worrying because God has a plan. Just keep being
That's right.
yourself and everything will happen the way it's supposed to. But she said to me, "I think you should take this play." And I was quite shocked because I hadn't even really spoken to her about the acting, but she was like, "You never know. And if anything happens, you're a qualified lawyer, go have some fun, enjoy yourself. This man sees
Mhm.
something and you do it." And I said, "All right, fine, I'll go do it." And I did. And it was she just to see the people that I love watching the play, and to
Mhm.
see their genuine reactions to me in it. They were
Mhm.
like, "You have found your thing."
Oh,
And just to
wow.
see the pride in my mum's eyes, and she's always been proud of me. Like, she's not, she's always supported me in everything I've done, but she was
Mhm.
like, "I didn't know that you could do that. I was watching
Mhm.
you and I was like, is this my daughter?"
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
I
it was such an amazing thing to share with my best friends and my family, to see them genuinely be like, "Whatever happens, you have to do this."
Yeah.
Oh, this is wonderful to hear. It's
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful to hear. And why I am so happy that you're Brandon's friend, uh, is because I can see you talked about a little dark place at one point, but it's so good for young people to understand that's not the end of life. That's the beginning of figuring it out and moving forward. And it was just that period of time. But guess what? With the support from your family and your faith and your routine or whatever community, you came and kept moving forward. And that's what sometimes young people, anybody, they can get in a space and they don't know how to get out of that space. And then and they get deeper in the space. But you're showing that there is light.
Yeah.
There is light, and I can see the glow in your face. I can see the glow coming from you as you tell your journey, your story here. And it just makes me feel so happy for you. And I'm going to ask one more question right quick, Brandon.
Oh, you're good, mom.
Talking about happy moments, mommy. I like happy times.
Yes, ma'am.
You told what tell us something that may have been one of the happiest times in your life that made you reflect on, oh, this is just great.
Gosh, that's a great question. I feel like I have so many happy moments in my
Oh,
life,
okay.
but I actually do think the moment, the moments of the play, what I've just been discussing,
Uh-huh.
if I really think about it, it's why I say it's probably the happiest moment in my life, because it's also kind of sprinkled with the sudden realization that your life has now fundamentally changed.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
think before the play, I'd like to think of it sort of like before and after.
Mm-hmm.
Before, there was this notion that I was doing something and it was kind of like, this is just going to be something that I do and then I'm going to hop, skip, and jump back to law, and life's going to be as it was. This is the path I'm meant to be on. This is the path I studied for, I trained for, etc. But after the play, after the feedback I received, after the way that I felt, after the willingness and the determination and the motivation I had to show up every day and give the best that I could give to every performance, when I was exhausted or anxious or whatever it was, I realized at that point when, I had my final show and I'm, with everybody that I love, and I'm like, now my life is actually different because now I know that I can't stop doing this. And that was a beautiful realization because I wasn't happy in the job that I did before. But I think there's a way that there are stories that we tell ourselves. And I think it's very, very difficult. This is actually something that I wanted to talk about because I think maybe a lot of people experience it. And it's something I'm going through now where you can at once be immensely happy and committed and dedicated to the choice that you have made. But as someone, for example, who was working in a corporate job, which is maybe not fulfilling to your soul, but is stable, and there are certain benefits and advantages that you get from that in your life. There are certain things, considerations you don't need to have because it's all set up for you. Going to a place where my soul is taken care of, but other things are not. I have other considerations now in terms of what I'm going to do from day to day, where my next, kind of income's going to come from, what that's going to look like, what my future's going to look like is no longer mapped out. Not that it ever was before. I think that's maybe something that people think. Sometimes we have this misconception that we're in control. We're not in control of anything, but you can believe that more clearly when you're in a job that's a little bit more on one track. And now I think it's the moment where you suddenly decide, I'm going to choose myself and my happiness and my passion every day, even on the days that you don't feel so good in yourself, even on the days where you think, did I just make the stupidest decision of my life? Am I living a dream? But ultimately it's in those moments where you feel happy because you realize that you're actually trusting in yourself. And I think for a long time, it wasn't that I lacked confidence in myself. It's just I never came face to face with the reality that I needed to trust myself. It was like, I can get myself on this path, but ultimately it's organized by the powers that be. It's orchestrated by everybody else around me. It's organized by the firm. It's organized by my university. It's organized by my school. Whereas now, the path that I'm on, I create. And every decision I make, I hold the responsibility of those choices, for better or for worse. And that means you have to have so much self-trust every day to wake up and back yourself and think, I'm doing this for my happiness. I'm doing this for the life that I'm trying to create so I can be the best version of myself for everyone around me.
I love that. Oh, go ahead, Brett.
Stephanie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's all.
Stephanie, first off, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you and your bravery as well. What you've stated there about how that you had a point in your lifetime where you're like, this isn't feeding my soul. This isn't what's making me happy. And you decided to go out in a leap of faith and do what your faith was telling you to do. And believing in yourself is so commendable. And to go into a field such as acting where you were phenomenal. So you made the right choice. I can let you beyond made the right choice. I would have thought you've been acting since you were a child because that's how great you are. But for you to do that, I've had conversations with friends that are unhappy. They've worked corporate jobs, have been unhappy the whole entire time. Said, Brandon, I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
But we're just afraid to take that leap. So I'm proud of you where you're a person that was in law school, that had gone to this law firm thingy where one thing you said earlier about redirection.
Redirection.
Thank you. That's that right there, because I've always heard the saying, when one door closes, another one opens. Yes. And then what you might have thought was meant for your harm at that time ended up being for your good, and ultimately sent you down this path. So they did you a favor. So thank God to them. Yeah.
Always. My mom is like, you better thank those people because they don't know what they're missing. And now I'm like,
yeah. And I love how you have your mom as your hype queen.
Oh my gosh, she is my biggest hype queen. She's the bestie. She's my bestie.
Absolutely. She sounds a lot like my mom, to be honest with you.
She does. I think you guys would get on very well.
Yeah, I think they would too. And it's great that you have that support system in there. And the other thing I'm going to say is, you're hilarious. I don't say that often about anybody, but if a person is funny, I let them know. You are naturally my mom's the funniest person I know, and then I have like three other friends, and then it's you, as of
Oh, that's
today.
great.
So
Well,
you're like you should be
cute.
having you're gonna have your own show, and you should easily be doing comedy.
You need to tell my brother that. We need to get him here because he's going to be
Oh
like, I'm the funniest. I'm like, well, here we go. You heard
yeah,
it
you
first.
heard it here first, and I'm
He's
saying it.
funny.
Yeah, is your brother older or younger too?
He's younger, but
Okay.
we're only 2 years, so we're very close.
Ah, gotcha. Well, he's definitely well. For right now, you're the funniest person. Like you are absolutely hilarious, and I mean that. And so, a lot of things with people that are funny, I've noticed that funny people that are able to do comedy or naturally funny, they are able to do drama the best.
Mm.
And I don't know. I don't know if it's because like sometimes in lifetime when you're going through difficult times, you'll make up jokes. You'll laugh to keep from crying. And I
Yeah.
think that could possibly be it. So I just want to say that along those lines of the fact that you were absolutely hilarious. And I am
Thank
proud of you for taking that step, a leap of faith, and doing ultimately what was going to serve you. I know
you.
that people can go through dark times. Heck, I've been there through dark times, and you have to find a way back into the light. And I'm glad that you were able to, you had the help of your family, and you were able to also find what made you happy. And you're like, man, this acting stuff really is what I'm really into. There's an actor, and I don't know if it's the dad's name or if it's the son's name, but I'm talking about the dad specifically. Brendan Gleeson, I think is the dad. He's
Mhm.
this actor with he was in Braveheart. He has this red hair. He was a teacher all the way into his 40s. And he
Wow.
decided to go into acting, and he has been one of the best actors. He's an English British actor
Yes, yes, yes.
who's been in 28 Days Later. He was in that. He's played in all kinds of movies, and now his son acts as well. So I don't know if the dad's named Brendan or what, but kind of like your path where you went from law to acting. I feel like this has been your calling, just like that has ultimately been his calling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you're definitely on the right path.
I think it is amazing when you hear these stories because there's so much to be. I remember when I first, I say when I first started, what was that? Yesterday. But there is this notion of like, oh gosh, why didn't I start this earlier? Why didn't I just do it when I was younger and all that? But ultimately, you are the person you are because of the experiences that you've had. And I feel like I take so much of what I've learned in my life into this. And I think you're right. Like, people who are comedic about things is because you can't take life all that seriously. But ultimately, in the moments that you have to be serious, whether you're performing a dramatic role, you take from the serious life experiences that you've had, and you're
Yeah.
able to allow that to come out. I think that's what I think is so amazing about acting. It's what I remember feeling so viscerally when I did the play. And I said one of the characters I was playing was she was a very mentally unwell person. I'm not saying that I related to what she was going through, but it
Yeah.
required a lot of depth to get to her, to be able to characterize her. And it
Mhm.
was such a cathartic experience where it's not so much that I'm like, wow, I'm playing out all these things that I went through when I was younger. It's not about that. It's the fact that
Mhm.
you have so much emotion within you
Mhm.
and you find an outlet, whatever
Mhm.
that looks like. And it's amazing when you get to be so in tune with your emotions and the character you're playing, and all of it fits together and it comes out in this beautiful little package. And you're like, wow, it's like a therapy session that you are giving yourself, and you did,
Absolutely.
you needed it. But
Mhm.
you're like, wow, she can
Yeah.
do because she, ate a sandwich she didn't like yesterday. But
Yeah.
just
Uh,
all
so
these
you,
kind of experiences build and then help you develop characters. And that's, I think, something that acting is it's so wonderful that it allows people to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And then
mhm.
also be able then to create something that other people can watch and feel those experiences as well.
Absolutely. And then Stephanie, I want to say two more things I want to say. One, it's interesting you mentioned how when I went to and it's pretty competitive in the United States when it comes to acting. It's competition. I just feel that. So when I was going to the showcases, I was going at first with, oh my gosh, it's going to be a big competition when I get there. But it was the exact opposite. Everyone was talented, and everyone was so supportive of one another.
So
And that was
supportive.
the biggest shock that was the biggest shock I experienced because I'm like, oh my gosh, the British are for each other. They want to see each other succeed. And I thought that was so amazing. And I felt like it was an actual community where people were trying to root for the best that wanted. They weren't looking at someone like competition. They wanted the best out of that person. So I thought that was amazing. That was just a culture shock for me and was so beautiful to see. And then I also want to say, I am so proud of you for going to New York and doing those showcases there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How did you like that experience? What was that like for you?
Do you know what? I loved it. I
Mhm.
absolutely loved it. The course that I did, it was, it was slightly different than what I was expecting, but honestly, I think it has been to this point one of the most significant things I've done for myself in terms of training and progressing on this acting journey, because I was able to be in a room with obviously very, very talented and experienced actors and industry professionals, and to be able to see myself in a different market, in a different industry. And also everybody was really supportive, and I learned so much from my fellow actors. And it was also amazing to see how things are done in the States, because it's so different. Like, the energy is so different. But
Yeah.
what I loved as well, which is, again, it was a culture shock for me, is that, well, you guys are so positive all the time about like, honestly, it would be the tiniest thing and people would be like, woo! And I was like, this is so un-British. It was beautiful. It was so,
Yeah.
so nice to be a part of for that time. And I adore New York. Honestly,
Yeah.
if I could, I would move there in an instant. I absolutely
Absolutely.
loved it. Agent panel was probably one of the scariest things I have ever done in my entire life. I'm
Really?
pretty sure I had to wring my shirt out after I was done, because
Okay.
it was honestly quite horrifying, but amazing. It was
Yeah.
very, very validating. I got called back by two of the agencies at the panel,
Perfect.
which was so exciting. And
Yeah.
then honestly, this is a ridiculous story. I'm very, very clumsy. So I'm walking back home after this. I'm obviously a bit, adrenaline. That's gone
Yeah.
terribly. I should probably quit while I'm ahead. And then I get this email through from one of the agents saying, we'd
Yeah.
really like to meet you in our office. So, in New York, you've got these metal sort of fences around all the trees.
Yeah, I guess they just so people don't mess with them per se. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't see that.
Oh
I
wow.
saw I saw the tree. I didn't see the metal fence because I was hooting and hollering at this email that I just got. And as if it were a scene out of a movie, I went knee first into the fence, somersaulted, landed in the dirt.
Oh wow.
It was honestly, it was chaos. Fortunately, I was fine. I had a bit of a banged up knee for a few weeks, which wasn't good,
Yeah.
and I now have a scar to prove it. But it was honestly ridiculous. And then the most New York man came up to me and he was like, "That's why you shouldn't be on your phone while you're walking." And I was like, "Oh God,
Wow.
what has just happened?" But he
Uh,
picked me up out of the dirt and I went along my way. But honestly, you couldn't make it up. When
you
you just
really
I got
can't.
home and I was just laughing at myself. I was like, "How did you manage this? This is ridiculous."
Yeah. That's too
Um,
funny.
it was so funny, but I did honestly in New York. It was scary, but I'm
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
happy I did it. It was so worth it, and I think it was an amazing thing sometimes. Like, for example, you coming to London. I think
Yeah.
when you go to somewhere different and then you get to see, you almost can see yourself more clearly through the way that other people see you. Because when you're like
Absolutely.
going to the same things in your country and you're used to it, you kind of lose sight of how your performance is impacting how you
Yeah.
come across. And then you go to a totally different place. I would say we speak the same language in the UK and the US, but with such different cultures, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
so you get to see a very different perspective, and I think it's a really very valuable experience to do as an actor.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did it. And I have to admit, one thing, there's so many British words that they had in there in like the scripts that I had that I had to
Yeah.
change them to American because I didn't know what they
Yeah.
meant. So I was just like, I'm just gonna switch that over to American because I really don't know what that word means.
100%, and it doesn't flow. It doesn't flow naturally if you say it.
Yeah.
Because I felt the same American. I did so many of my scripts when I was doing the US course. I just did it in a US accent because
Oh
I
wow.
would have had to change the words so
Yeah.
much for it to sound natural in my UK accent. But when I
Absolutely.
did do one in my British accent, there was one word, I don't remember what it was, but I was like, I said it, and it was so jarring because it's so different that it actually just totally threw me off. I was like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
What did I just say?
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you did that. Mom, Stephanie, you've been absolutely phenomenal. We're
Well,
not done
before
yet.
we do that, I want to ask
Oh,
her
sorry. Yeah, go
something.
ahead, man.
I'm sorry. I want to ask you. You said you speak French and you speak Spanish. Can
Yeah.
you? Why don't you? Can you say some French for us? Can you say something in French? Maybe a quick poem that you know, or Brandon.
What can I say?
Do you know the poem "If" by Kipling?
No.
Oh, it's all good.
Okay,
No
it's all
worries.
good. All right. Say something to us in French.
I can say merci beaucoup pour m'avoir avec vous dans le programme. C'est super cool d'être avec vous dans le podcast. C'était super de parler avec vous et merci beaucoup pour l'opportunité.
Jesus.
Oh,
I basically just said thank you for having me on the podcast.
très bien.
Oh yeah, no, you're more than welcome. We loved having you on there.
That's excellent. My mother was a French teacher. She's dead now, but she's gone on to be with the Lord. But she was fluent in French, fluent.
Wow.
And she lived in Paris a while. She was from the United States, and she was from a small town here in South Carolina. But she never had the Southern accent. You would have not known where she was from, but fluent in French.
That's
And
amazing.
I said, Mom, why didn't you speak French with us every day as we were little growing up? We would know. She said, because in the afternoon, you would be with your grandparents. And if I taught you French, then you wouldn't be able to speak with your grandparents. And so she was more aware of that. But my older sister, who's dead now, but the oldest sister, she could speak fluent French because she would be home.
Uh-oh. Oh, sorry, my mom got interjected because I think the phone went off on her thing.
Okay. My mother would speak French. That's right. I'm sorry about that. My mom would speak French with her all the time. And so she could
That's so
speak French.
lovely.
Oh, yes, exactly. But I just love hearing it because I can think about my mom when you said you speak fluent French. Have you
Oh,
ever done a
nice.
play in French? Have you participated in any French plays?
No, I haven't. I would love to do that. I mean, save for the fact that what my grammar just now was 100% off. However, I would love to do a French play. I love speaking French. It's just I don't really get the opportunity. And I love Paris. I lived in Paris for just under a year
Oh,
when I was at university, which is what helped because when you
yes.
study languages, you get to do a year abroad. So I was in Paris and Barcelona, which was amazing.
Okay.
Wow.
But I
Well,
would love to do a play or a show or something with at least some French. Do you know the
Oh.
Okay.
dream would be, like I did say, if I get to touch on all the things I wanted to be,
Yeah, say it.
I
Sure.
want to play like a spy in a
I think
movie
you're good at that.
show, and then I can speak all the different languages because
Oh, wow. You would be
and
perfect
then
for
I get
that
to live out
role.
all my childhood dreams.
Yeah, you do. Honestly, Stephanie, you really would be. You should be. Was it MI6 over there? I think is. You know, you would be a perfect spy, and you do speak all those languages.
So good. That's my honestly dream role, dream casting. I would love it.
Well, I think you're gonna have a lot of footage from this. I'm gonna get it to you too.
Yeah. All right. Now we're going to ask her one more thing.
Yes,
Speak
ma'am.
some
You're good.
Spanish for us because of our big viewer, all our viewers all over the world. Let's speak some Spanish here. So go ahead and speak some Spanish, and that would be great. And then we'll go to the lightning round, Brandon.
Which is real lightning rounds, quick questions.
Great.
Oh, what do I say? También muchas gracias por haberme en el podcast. Es súper de haber la oportunidad de hablar con vosotros y ahora estoy súper cansada, pero me divierte mucho. He tenido un tiempo súper bien. Gracias.
Oh, wow. Listen, what other language do you speak?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I can
Oh, well, let's
get
clap.
by with
I love
Italian.
that, Brandon. Did you see that?
Yeah, she said I could do it some Italian. Jeez, Jesus.
Well, do a little Italian, Brandon, because of your Italian friends.
Non posso parlare italiano.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Posso capiscere, ma non posso parlare. I can't really speak it, but I can understand it.
Oh, well, great. Oh,
You
that
got
was
comedy
fabulous.
down. You got accents down. You got languages down. You're deadly.
And beauty down.
That
Says
too.
it all.
Very much so. Very much so. Well, Stephanie, here's the final thing, the lightning round. First off, you've been absolutely wonderful, just so you know.
You too
And
as well.
it's gone by fast. But we got to have you back too, Stephanie. You're always welcome back anytime.
I would love that.
Absolutely.
You go.
Okay, good. All right. So, quick lightning round, which is quick one-off questions, whatever. I know we kind of laughed about this because I texted you yesterday about it.
Go.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Okay. I told you that coffee was trash in England.
But I also don't drink black tea. I only drink herbal teas. I'm not a caffeinated lady.
Okay.
No
Okay.
caffeine.
All right. Okay. Actually, I'm going to add another one in there. Driving or taking the tube or the train for people in America or subway?
Driving. I drive everywhere. I hate the tube. It's disgusting and hot.
Oh, I like the tube. Okay.
Stinky.
Oh, yeah. Favorite comfort food?
Cookies. Love them.
What kind?
Usually anything with like a Biscoff filling or chocolate chip.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
There's
Nice.
one in New York that I got obsessed with. I ate them every day from this place called Chip City.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
I thought, it said on the thing, you have the calories,
Yeah.
and it
Mhm.
was like, 177 calories. And I was like, wow, that's amazing for a cookie. I
Yeah.
didn't realize it's per serving.
Okay.
There are like 7 servings in each cookie.
Oh, yeah.
And I was eating one every single day. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is why my trousers are not fitting so well anymore.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. And New York has
Love
the
it.
best food. Favorite place in England to reset your mind?
Oh, honestly, probably my home. I love home.
Yeah.
And I've got a
Ooh.
really nice garden. I have something in the back of my garden, which is like just like a little outdoor space indoor outdoor space that I like to sit in and read in the summer. It's really nice.
And that's in London?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're kind of in North London, so more in the suburbs, but it means we get bigger gardens, so it's nice.
Well, I'm going to ask a quick question about the
Oh, yeah, go ahead,
garden, Brand, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
love planting. I love planting. Do you have a flower garden, or do you have ones with herbs or with fruits and
No
vegetables?
herbs. I wish we had fruit and veg. We just have flowers, and we've got really beautiful evergreen trees. So all throughout
Okay.
winter, the garden looks really green, which is really, really nice.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Plants. I'm obsessed with plants. We have so many indoor plants as well. I like to
I love gardens as well. Okay.
You guys are green thumbs. A book, a movie, or series you would recommend right now?
Okay, a book. I just finished reading The Spy Who Came In From the Cold by John le Carré, which is the main, like the primordial spy novel of our generation. I'm
Oh.
obsessed with spy novels and I hadn't read it, which is crazy.
Yes.
Actually tied to that, there is another spy series by someone called, what's his name? Charles Cummings or Dominic Cummings? Charles Cummings. And it's called Another Country, and they're great. If you like spy novels, amazing. Just so
Oh,
good.
we will get along just fine. I love
Really? Honestly, so good.
Wow.
It was amazing. I actually read The Spy Who Came In From the Cold in one day.
Wow.
I just couldn't put it down. I was like, I need to know what happens next. What's going on here?
Well, there
Yeah.
have been spies since the beginning of time. Talking about spies, Caleb and Joshua were spies in the beginning of time. So I tell people spying is nothing new. That's been
We were built to spy. We got to get that intel somehow.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're hilarious. You're a morning person or a night owl?
I feel that I can be both, which is not fair to answer, but I
It's
think
okay. No, you can be both. That's all
I
good.
think I'm very much both.
Okay.
I
Works.
probably need more sleep.
All right. One song that always lifts your mood.
One song that always lifts my mood. Oh. um Robin, Dancing on My Own, which is
Oh, I love that. That's such a depressing song.
I really like it. I don't know why.
It's all good. I do like that song though. She does a little thing. Anyway, a habit that you're proud you built.
A habit that I'm proud I built. I'm very like methodical with my exercise. I go on walks every day and then I do Pilates quite regularly. I love walking because it means I get to be outside. And
Yeah.
I hate running. You're not going to catch me running, but walking every day.
Okay, I heard you walking in the video you sent me. And I always see you on videos walking and talking.
I'm always walking.
Yeah.
How many miles do you walk per day?
I don't know about miles, but I try to do at least like an hour and a half of walking.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's great.
A habit you're working on right now.
Habit that I'm working on right now. I am a little bit of I'm not a procrastinator, but I have a very erratic brain. So I start things and then I get bored and then I don't finish them. Sometimes people call it ADHD. I just like to say it's me. But yeah,
Yeah.
I need to try and like be a bit. I think I want to start, timing things that I'm doing. So I'm like, you have to do this for 10 minutes. And if you get
Yeah.
bored, you can do something else. But I will literally be like starting this honestly to the degree that sometimes I'm cooking and I don't put the lids back on things in the kitchen. And my mum, I just hear this scream because obviously something's dropped. And she's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
I got you.
sorry.
Yeah, it's
So yeah,
that's all right
work
though.
on that follow through.
Yeah, it's like having a genius mind. I think I've heard that before. That's like having a genius mind almost.
Okay.
But best advice you ever received.
Best advice I ever received is, I think, very similar to what Mama Rush was saying and what my mom said, is just stop overthinking things, stop questioning the path, just be authentically yourself, keep going, just keep going, and everything
Mhm.
is made, everything that is for you is already there for you. No question it.
Mhm.
Just let it come.
Absolutely, you're wise, very wise. One thing you wish more people understood about young adults today.
Hmm. I think that there is a lot for young adults today to navigate. And I think sometimes there is this notion that we have everything that we could possibly want, and therefore we shouldn't complain, and that we're a bit too mollycoddled as a generation. But I
Mhm.
also think that people are battling the demons of this feeling of constant productivity. It feels, I think, something that young people feel this pressure of is if they're not doing something, then they're not worth anything. And that's
Mhm.
very difficult. And I think a lot more grace needs to be given to the fact that sometimes human beings are meant to be idle. And there's a lot of pressure on our shoulders to feel like we're worthy and enough, even if we're not
Mhm.
doing or meeting the criteria of productivity that modern society demands of us.
Mhm. Mhm.
And sometimes I think people can think that that's entitled because we have access to everything. But sometimes when you're inundated with things, it's impossible for your brain to even breathe and think about what you want or how to streamline or how to do anything. And then you just kind of, you freeze because there's so
Mhm.
much. So I think maybe that would be useful to understand.
Mhm.
Okay, and I just have two more questions for you, or three, and and I got you out of here because I don't want to keep you holding me up.
Oh, it's okay.
Word,
We're having a great
okay, awesome.
time.
A word that describes your current season.
My current season.
Yeah, like what, right? The moment in life, I guess, right now.
Yeah. I would say like it's two words, but kind of in bloom. I feel like I'm in spring, my own
Oh, I
spring.
love
I
that.
like that too. That's
Mhm. I have to
beautiful.
write that one down.
One simple joy you never want to take for granted.
Being able to like live with my mom at this age and see her every day, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I really should be like living out at this age, but actually the fact that I get to spend this age with my mom and this time with her, it's like such an amazing thing that people don't get the opportunity to get. And
Mm.
she is actually my best friend as well as my mom, and we have so
Oh,
much fun together. So
That's
mm.
absolutely
I
beautiful.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Brandon, I know we finished are you finished with the
I have
lightning?
one more question to
Oh,
ask.
I'm sorry.
Ask you.
I'm sorry.
Stephanie, if you could tell your 18-year-old self anything, and this can be however long you want it to be, what would you tell your 18-year-old self, knowing what you know today and all?
I would say trust yourself.
Mm.
Trust yourself because you're enough, and everything that you think that you're supposed to have and you're supposed to do, it doesn't matter. Just keep being yourself and actually receive when everyone tells you these good things, receive it and believe it and trust yourself
I
and
love
just
that.
don't question.
Okay. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, mom, you said, was that word molly coddled? Coddled that you said?
Mollycoddle, yeah.
Molly coddled? I don't even know what that means. I never even heard that
If
word.
you mollycoddle someone, it means that you kind of you fuss over them too much. If you
Okay.
Oh, I got you.
mollycoddle a baby, you're
I
constantly,
like that.
oh, do you
Monte
need this?
Carlo.
Oh, do you need that? Just leave it. Just let them be.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start mixing that into like, yo, you need to quit molly coddling that guy.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah.
Mom, you had
Well, I've
something.
always,
Yeah.
I always wanted to live. I always wanted to live in England. Always, always wanted to live there. But what do you love most about England? Something you think people in the United States may not realize or might not realize. And that's talking to me.
Gosh, it's interesting because I've always had very conflicting feelings towards England. It's home, and I've always loved it because the people I love are here. But
Hmm.
I think one thing I definitely did appreciate, and I would say this probably having spent now some time in the States, is I really appreciate the manners in the UK. It's very different to being, extremely friendly, or like, some of the people I met in the States were so genuinely, authentically friendly, and they're going to ask you questions that brighten your day. But one thing that you can't beat, I think, is the manners in the UK. People are and it's a very specific type of mannered, the random person who holds the door for you in the street, the people who respect a queue. We love to
Yes.
queue, there's no barging, there's none of that. Someone will stand off, on the side of the tube and let you go in. There's a lot of that just always in the UK. Some people suck, obviously. But I think there is a general sort of understanding that you must have this sense of British poise, and even the kind of, from each socioeconomic background, it stems across the whole of the UK. But I do think there
really
is
does.
that people have.
I love that because we taught our children manners. I grew up in the South.
Yes, of course.
And though we moved north after graduating from the university, I went north. But the thing is, we've always taught our children manners. Some people think it's like a slavery type of thing to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. No, it's manners. It's respect. And we taught our kids, Dave, Brandon's dad, and I, the two of us, and me, the two of us. I always have to correct that English because my mother, I can hear her talking. But with that, we taught them, and Brandon realized that when he went out to California, he's realized that when he was at university, he realized when he would say, yes, sir, no, ma'am, they would turn, the teachers would look at him in a special way. And so I'm so happy that you said that, because that's what I appreciate about the UK. And I appreciate that way of life, and I'm so glad that we instilled it in our children. And I'm so glad that today, all of our viewers, young people from the age of 14 all the way to the age of 70, you can realize the importance of manners. And I hope more parents here in the United States would instill that in their children, because that is the gateway to getting understanding and people respecting you out there. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for coming on the show today.
Stephanie,
so much.
You have been absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that we finally were able to get you on, that you took time out of your night tonight, because I think it's 6 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock there now? 5:07?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Stephanie, you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, please come back, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Of course, I would love to. I would love to. It's been so wonderful speaking to both of you.
Okay.
And we love having it. Well, we always give everyone a round of applause. Stephanie, you knocked it out the park.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. You were exceptional.
Absolutely exceptional. And then, Stephanie, sorry, I wanted to say, if you want them to reach you anywhere, if people to reach you, you want your Instagram handle out there?
Yeah, of course. Perfect.
I don't know it by heart. Will you say what it is by heart? I don't know what it is.
Stephanie M.A. Okoye.
Stephanie M.A. Okoye.
Yes.
All right. Perfect. Well, Stephanie, you have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for taking this time to be with us.
Thank you so much. And you
I'll
too
have
as
this
well.
back to you soon.
And be safe. Okay, be safe.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Bye, Stephanie.
Bye.
And she was
wonderful. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
wow. I enjoyed that